utilize the telephone calls?
Yes,
or not for that?
we can, but actually I think tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up email addresses in Infinite Campus, and I'm going to actually contact all the households I haven't heard from so far.
Okay.
I just find it's a little bit easier than the phone calls, because sometimes it's 4 or 5 different phone calls and it gets kind of old. But the email, when I've done email, I get really good response with that. So we'll try everything.
Yeah, I just hate to see them have to pay if they
Right,
if
right.
they're eligible, you know.
Right, right. And we've had several that have that were on benefits last year that have turned in a new application and their income is up, which is good for them, but it also means they now are denied. So now they're having to pay. So it just kind of goes up and down. So, any more questions? Thank you.
Next on the agenda is update on Pickens County School Athletics with Mr. Chris Parker.
Thank you guys, appreciate you allowing me to be here tonight, and I'm excited about the opportunity that I've been given over the last month or so to work with our athletic department. A lot of good things happening with our athletic department, and we want to continue to move forward with them. Look at that. What we want to talk about today real quick is just our programs and our athletes in the fall sports, and then with the organization and communication, which are two of the things we were really trying to improve and what we've done with those things. This fall, overall we have 18 programs with Georgia High School Association, and this fall we have football, cross country, softball, and cheerleading, and volleyball. We have all in those sports we have 416 participants. We got 224 boys and 192 girls, which is actually very ahead of the state average on the ratio of boys to girls. Meaning we're doing great in that aspect. A lot of counties have sometimes double or over double the amount of boys and girls participating. So that's, when we've talked with Georgia High School, that's been something they're trying to push across the whole state. And so a compliment to us, nothing we did, but just counting. But it's nice that we do have a good number of females participating. And we have 248 high school athletes right now and 118 at the middle school. And again, these numbers are current. These are of the sports I just named, softball, volleyball, football, cross country, and cheerleading. We're trying to organize our department and move forward. This is new, so that's actually the biggest challenge right now. Meeting with the coaches, trying to make sure we're on the same page with scheduling, with collaboration, and things of that. One of the things we really tried to do first was meet with transportation. We met with Bruce, met with his people. On some ways we can try to do a better job as coaches and maybe communicate a little better with transportation. And of course they try to work back with us. And a lot of maybe miscommunication or misunderstanding sometimes when there's so many buses going so different places. And we're very blessed to have one school in our county. And I've been places where we don't have one school in the county and one high school and so that's great to have that one high school in the county. But it creates a lot of travel issues because no school's close. No school's in your county. And so Bruce and all the transportation department are great to work with, and we're just trying to come up with a streamlined plan of what we can do, and we're in the process of working on that. We're working on a centralized uniform equipment supplier, trying to consolidate our vendors into one where we can have much more buying power, influence over ways we can get, especially the smaller programs, more money back and more ways to get them more things. So that's something we're working on as we speak. With communication, which I know was the big thing that Mr. Coward and many of you challenged me to do last time. We put some things in the newspaper. Ms. Beth Moore's helped me with some of that. We developed a website, which we're going to go to in a second. We're creating a student council, which we've gotten the names of these students that we talked about. We will have, by the next board meeting, we will have met with those people. We're gathering some names of community people and create a community athletic council of people who don't have students playing right now on the teams. These would be people who maybe had students playing in the past, or people like Kurt Gardner and people who were here earlier, people in the community that maybe we can meet with, on a monthly or every other month basis to just get their feel for ways we can improve communication and community support for our sports. Parent and student documents, educate people on articles, with business of athletics, all those are things we've done. One thing we've really been proud of, and I know Martha's going to pull up, is Ms. Long in our technology department have been working very hard with me on developing a district athletic site. We want to be in a situation with transportation and with technology where our athletics are right on the edge of where we went up compared to any other school system in the state. And those are things we control. You know, we don't always control whether we win or lose, but we do control being organized and having, I think you have to be at Pickens, that's not it. No, you gotta get up. It just went live right now. I think you gotta go. There we go. We literally are getting this done today. We've been working on it for weeks, but today we're going to launch it. It's actually going to be pickensdragons.org will be the site to coincide with our school site, you know, which is a .org site. Today we just have a link where we're just sending to show you guys, but very happy with the communication we've had and how we can put things on this site. And what will happen is, you can see it now, there we go. And you can scroll the pictures there, Martha, or Joey off to the side. There's pictures of every sport. And if you scroll down, you'll see, there we have all, and stop right there. What we have here, and this is what we've really been working hard on, is anytime any of our sports send social media information out, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, it would show up on this left part here. And on the right would be our calendars. Right now we only have the football calendar up because I had to do it. But eventually we want all the sports there. So if anybody in our county, anybody in any place in another country could go to the site and see every event that occurred for today, every practice, if something changes. And what happens is now we have it set up where if the coach goes into their personal sports calendar and changes the time or reschedules the game, we had a softball game canceled today. If we have this set up, when they reschedule the time, it'll just fix it on the website. All they're having to do is just fix their personal calendar. And so all that is just so stuff way over my head, but I'm learning. And that's where we want to be, where everybody can, for sports, high school, middle school, all sports, come to this one location. And you know, you can scroll up and down there some if you want, Mark. There's things all over that site. Ms. Long has done a great job of putting all kinds of things in there. There's, you know, links, and we went to, she actually did it, I can't take any credit, went to every website of basically every college in our areas, Southeastern Conference teams, but small colleges there, and kind of compiled a general idea of what those schools had, because we wanted to do even better than high school. You know, we wanted to do the best thing we could do. And so, you know, at the top it says sports. You can click on sports. You can see every sport has its own page. And resources. We got college athletes down here. There's Lizzie Murphy, who's cheerleading at Kennesaw State University right now. Shannon Brooks, who played for me, is in Minnesota. You know, it's scrolling through those people on there. They got resources up there, all the physical forms, athletic documents are on this site. Once people understand how to navigate, it's a lot of stuff, you know, but once people hopefully understand all that, it's a base where everyone can go to. We kind of have done this thing with football before, but now we're trying to encompass, you know, with every sport, high school and middle school. We're very excited about the organization and the possibility of those things. And there's still some things we're working on with this too, you know. But like, click on football there, Martha. I know that, but like, if you just click on the individual sport, you'll see just the football schedules. Which today our varsity team walked through. Our freshmen are playing White County right now. Our JV just beat Dawson, right, Rick? And so, you know, all that happened today. You can see it right there. You can see our football, you know, tweets and Facebook posts and things like that, which is how people communicate now. And so we're trying to modernize, and all this is done, like I could put something on my phone right now that just says we're having practice tomorrow, and I put it in this calendar, and the next time Martha refreshed, it would be up there. You know, and so that's just my personal calendar. But we're trying to have that set up with every coach, middle school and high school. And right now it's a lot of stuff that we're having to play with, but like a year from now, every sport would have all this stuff, and the coaches would update their roster, update their calendars, and all that would just be linked into this site. And very exciting what all they can do. I wish I could tell y'all how they do that. I have no idea. I just know it happens. When I do it, that's what happens. But I really am excited about this opportunity and organization and what we're trying to do. and the help that we have gotten. Like in this case, I didn't do any of this. This is just an idea that the technology has run with, and Bruce has run with some things in transportation, and Stacy in maintenance, and we've just been very blessed to have so much support of people trying to help us, and so I really do appreciate that. Is there any questions? Anything we can do?
I'd just like to say, with the district athletic director, I think it's going to facilitate communication in so many different ways. We want to have good communication with our students, with our parents. I want to know, and you and I have met many times talking about what's going on with our coaches. So I think it's going to be a great thing for Pickens County Schools. I think we're going, our children and the community, many rewards, will come from this, I think, throughout, the time the years to come and this year. So I'm excited that we've made this change and that we have a district athletic director who can lead, because athletics is such a big part of what our kids do. And the academics is certainly important, but it's also important to them that they have something outside of the school day.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The website looks great.
It does.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
Lisa
you.
did a great job.
I wish I could take credit, but like I said, I'm really good at showing it off, though. It's kind of like the football, football team. I just show it off and get all the credit and blame other people. I don't do it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your support. I
One of
really
the
do.
things I was somewhat shocked at, I guess I didn't realize, when I saw the list of kids that we've got playing sports in college.
Yeah, I was impressed with that as
It's
well.
large.
It is, and we probably need to do more, which we're trying with this, to promote that and make sure people understand that. We get more, we have 4 players right now playing college football currently, and we have several cross-country and track runners. We have a cheerleader, as we saw there. And yeah, when we started compiling that list, because of course, we didn't want to leave anybody out, so we talked to everybody, and I was also impressed with that. And we want to really use whatever technology we can use to accentuate, the positives. And anytime we got someone participating in college, that's very motivational for our students at the school right now, to see that and see they can also do that. So yeah, I was impressed with that as well. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
If I could say too, the site that we've been using with our board meetings is our e-board site. And one of the things that came out of committee recommendation was that we continue to try and make the public aware of what e-board offers. So as you look at our agenda today, and as you look at the things that are being covered in the meetings, please, encourage others to visit our site, because there's a lot of information on e-board that the community could access to see what's going on in Pickens County Schools. Thank you.
Mr. Godfrey, you're up next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening to you. I'm here at the request of Dr. Perry to update you on the stock arm camera status. As you remember, back in early spring, we met with 2 vendors of our stock arm cameras. At that time, as we looked at their presentations, we then pitted them one against another because of the low light, revealing in a low light. We undertook to do that. We had both vendors, we set that up. We staged it actually, and we also had cameras that were placed on the buses, and we were able to capture 2 or 3 passes on their stop arms. And the staged act, that came back fine. They were very, very similar. However, in the early part of July, Redflex, we had 2 vendors, which were Gatekeeper and Redflex. Redflex contacted me in July that they would not be able to carry through, basically because they had a new CEO, and as a result of the limited amount of revenue they thought that it would be able to accumulate from a smaller county, they elected not to go with us. They took the same route that earlier that one of the vendors of ATS, All Traffic Solutions. and then Redflex is following suit. So we're left with one vendor that we saw the presentation, and that is Gatekeeper. I'm here. I contacted them to just update us on where we were as far as contracts and so forth and so on, and what, again, to refresh our memory on what they were able to offer us. As far as the breakdown, the revenue breakdown, each violation is collected is broken down in the following equation, and there is some ability to, the percentage can be manipulated somewhat. Basically, school district 25%, law enforcement 25%, gatekeeper 50%, over the course of a 5-year period. This stands regardless of how much violation is. For instance, if it's an individual's first, second, third offense, it stays the same percentage base. I think that there's not much negotiable as far as gatekeeper 50% getting that. As far as determining the routes and the amount of cameras, they would give us about 10%, which would be roughly 6 to 7 cameras, and that would be determined with those high incident rates on our routes. They could determine that by putting single cameras on individual buses that would not interfere with the hardware of the bus, but be able to do that. Or we can run our own survey, which I feel like would be more expeditious. We can run that with survey with my drivers and report back. And then they would install those on those 10% or so of our fleet, and that can be adjusted as things change. If we see that there is another problematic area, then we can add a camera in that area. There was in the earlier stages, there was talk of what was their standard amount of violations it had to be to sustain their staying with us in contract. The amount of violations necessary, upon talking with the vendor here, there is no minimal number of violations that would be required in order to move forward with a contract, and no minimal number of violations that would be required in order to stay in a contract with the district. And I thought that was really, really good. Well, I would say this, and they provided me with 4 other references in the state of Georgia. I have contacted all those references. They are interior cameras as well as the stop arm cameras they provide, that service. Most of it is interior cameras. They only have a couple of counties in the state that are using the stop arm. In contacting them, they all are very elated with their customer service, which that's a good thing. Very good customer service. So that is where we stand at this point in time with as far as where we stand and what they offer. And I think it is now, we just have to make a decision on whether do we pursue this to, as far as placing them on our buses for the most problematic areas. I know that I would say this, I had a couple of drivers came in this past week and said I had 5 people, one said I had 5 people pass my bus stop sign this morning. So it is very definitely a thing that we need to consider as far as keeping our kids safe. As stop arms is only good for those that will stop, and sometimes we have another source maybe to urge them to stop. Are any questions that you would like to ask at this time?
And I guess this decision would have to be made in conjunction with the other agencies that would work with us.
Right. I think
have to
that
be an agreement between all of us.
right. It would just, what we would entail here is your endorsement for us to move forward in engaging all those entities to come up with a contract with the gatekeeper. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Is it kind of the consensus you would like for us to move forward?
I mean, we only have one vendor choice, so that makes it pretty simple.
We've got 5 passing the bus in one day. Yes, we definitely need to move forward.
In my opinion, I think we need to have the contract to Mr. Landrum to read over, and we need to facilitate getting all involved parties with an agreement written.
Sounds great.
And once the agreement's written, I guess then we would take action on it. consider the